What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. I am the House Hacking Mom, and today I'm going to be going over all these wonderful Christmas gift ideas for any cook in your life that you need to buy a last minute gift for, or maybe for yourself, or if you're anticipating getting maybe a lot of cash or gift cards for Christmas. These are just some very wonderful, beautiful, and practical ideas that you could give yourself for Christmas. None of these things are really expensive. They're all moderately priced, and some of them are super, super cheap. You could even use some of these as stocking stuffer ideas if you needed to. So I really hope you guys enjoy. If you would, please make sure to go real quick and hit the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel. And let's go ahead and jump into this video. I will look to see if I can find links to either the exact item or very similar items on Amazon or other websites for you guys if you need them. But I'm gonna start with what I believe to be the least expensive thing, and then we'll kind of go up in price from there. So the cheapest thing I believe will be on this list, and something that every cook should have, would be a measuring tape. And you might think, why on earth does a cook need a measuring tape? Well, it comes in handy very, very often. I use this thing all the time. It probably costs, I don't know, a couple bucks. And I use it for a lot of baking items, pastry making, and anytime I want to know how big something is, it's right there. I just keep it in my baking drawer, and believe me, I use this all the time. I use it to make cinnamon rolls. I use it to make cookies. I use it to make pie. I use it even occasionally for meat, if I need to know how thick my meat is, or maybe how far apart to tie some twine, anything like that. If something's a little bit more particular, a measuring tape is super, super handy, and I personally prefer it to having a big long ruler or a yardstick, because it's just so much more compactable and it's just easy, fits everywhere. And a 12-inch ruler just doesn't cut it. Something like rolling out pie dough, maybe you want to roll it out to about 12 to 13 inches long to fit in your 9-inch pie dish, then a 12-inch ruler is not going to help you. So a small, flexible measuring tape is super, super handy if you are a baker. Next inexpensive item on this list would be a nice pastry brush. Now, I really like the natural fiber ones, and you can get these super, super cheap. You can get like a pack of 10 for just a couple bucks, the really small, super cheap ones, and a lot of professional bakers actually prefer those. I only have room in this small kitchen to just store one. So I got the OXO natural fiber one, and I really like it. It cannot go in the dishwasher because if you put it in the dishwasher, it will just get full of all sorts of gunk in here. So you just quick wash it by hand, and I've had this for a year. I got this last Christmas, and I have used it many, many times. It's still working great. So if you bake semi-regularly, you want to do an egg wash, you want to glaze some ribs, anything like that, pastry brush comes in super handy. And for some reason, this is just sort of one of those things that people don't tend to buy themselves. They'll just use whatever, use a spoon, who even knows, use their hands to slop stuff around. People, for some reason, don't tend to buy items like this for themselves. So it's a really great small item that you can get for somebody on your list. Next item is this really funky whisk. I got this also last year. I first saw this used by the famous home cook, television personality Nigella Lawson, and she uses these all the time. And I love it. It's perfect for whisking up sauces. It has a flat bottom here, so it's really great for whisking at the bottom of a saucepan if you're making a custard or a bechamel sauce or anything like that. Super, super handy. And it's also just kind of fun. It makes you feel a little bit special for some reason, I find. So one of these is really fun. They're really cheap. Next item on my list is super, super important. If you do not have narrow measuring spoons, you really should get some. Even if you're not going to get them for a gift, just buy them for yourself. These are so wonderful because they can fit inside almost any spice jar. Even the tablespoon can fit inside most spice jars. Not all of them, but most of them, as opposed to the round kind, which I also have. I always use these after this kind is already in the dishwasher, because these do not fit inside almost any spice jar. Only, maybe the 1/4 teaspoon size actually fits inside of a spice jar. So the skinny, narrow rectangle ones are wonderful. Another thing I love about these measuring spoons is that the measurement is engraved on the spoon itself as opposed to being printed. So there's nothing that can fade or be washed off after going in the dishwasher too many times. These are wonderful. Highly, highly recommend. Next item on my list is something not necessarily so much for cooking, but more so for just treating yourself. So a lot of people drink coffee, including my husband and I. So one of these really small little frothers are super cheap. They're like $10, and they make everything, especially this time of year, a little bit nicer. You can foam up some cream to go on top of hot chocolate, foam up your cream to go on top of your coffee. It's super, super fun, and we use it almost every day. So not expensive, and it just lets someone treat themselves a little bit. So highly recommend one of these. And then going along with that, if you have any tea drinkers in your family or among your friends, highly, highly recommend the brand Hardy & Sons for loose leaf tea. They also have sachets, but it's much more economical to buy just loose leaf tea. They have their own website, and then you can also get it off of Amazon. You probably get it faster off of Amazon if you're trying to get something for Christmas, but they come in these really pretty little tins. This one I've had for a little while, so it's a little bit beat up, but we go through these all the time. Smells amazing, they are delicious, and then going along with that, just some reusable tea strainers. I love these. I like them much better than the sort that you're just supposed to pour hot water over, because the tea leaves actually sit deep inside of the mug or the teacup, and so it really steeps much better compared to the shallower ones that are also popular. So highly recommend these, and these also can go in the dishwasher and they work great. And then also, if you're just looking for something else to get for a tea drinker, it's nice to have a special designated teaspoon to measure your loose leaf tea leaves. I keep this in my tea cabinet and use it every day. So I think it's really nice when beauty can meet practicality. And a lot of things in our kitchens are very practical and not necessarily, super beautiful. A pastry brush does have a charm of its own, but it's not something super beautiful. So when you can have something that can be really pretty and maybe go within your design aesthetic and sit out on your counter, it is really nice. So this is a butter crock that I got from my grandmother, who has now passed away, and I love that I can use this butter crock almost every day, and it's absolutely beautiful. You can get all different kinds. They range from really nice, something like one from Williams in Sonoma, to ones that are not that expensive. So I think these are really beautiful, and almost everyone uses butter on a regular basis, or margarine, or some sort of spread that they put on their, toast. So one of these is beautiful to have. Okay, going back to the practical end. I have a pot set that came with a set of lids, but some of the pots that I had didn't come with lids, especially the larger ones. And so I was always putting a large sheet pan on top of my 12-inch skillets and all sorts of ridiculous things, until I found a multi-size use lid. So this one has different grooves for different popular size, larger pots and saute pans, and it works great. So switch over my 12-inch skillet, it fits over my 7-quart pot, and it fits decently tight. It's not perfectly snug because it's not obviously made for that particular pot, but it does a really good job, and it's nice that then you're not having to store another 3 or 4 different lid sizes. So really recommend this. I also got this 2 years ago for Christmas, and I love it, use it all the time. Next item is a beautiful travel container for any sort of baked goods. So I got this as a wedding gift, and I love it. I have used it so many times, and I like that it is large. It fits, I believe this is 12 inches. This would even fit something like cornbread. If I made it in my 12-inch cast iron skillet, I could put it right in here and take it with me. So if you can find a pretty travel case for someone, this is something that a lot of people, they just don't have. They just don't buy this sort of thing for themselves. So it's nice to get this kind of thing for a gift. Going back to the fun side, this is something that we also got when we got married. This is something we use all the time. It's not ultra clean at the moment, but this is a homemade popcorn maker, and we love it. We use it all the time. This is actually, Orville brand, but you don't need to get that. You can get something off brand very easily. They're not that expensive, And you can get ones that are a little bit more compact than this that don't take up quite so much room. But we use this all the time. It makes a great snack, low calorie, depending on how much butter you put on it. But it's a really great alternative to microwave popcorn, and it's just kind of fun. It has a more cozy, romantic atmosphere effect to it compared to microwave popcorn. So this is a really fun gift idea too. Next, I want to talk about these really pretty bowls. This was also a wedding gift, and I'm going to look and see if I can find a set like this. The brand name is Patina VI. But these are dishwasher microwave safe, and they're so beautiful. I would never have bought these for myself, just pretty little dishes like this, but I use them all the time. If you've watched my videos, you guys have probably seen me. I put pretty bar soap in them. I use them to serve, a pretty little dish of ice cream or another dessert. I use them even to serve myself a really tiny amount of soup. I use them to put salt in if I'm gonna be, sprinkling salt from a great height. They are so beautiful, and I use them all the time. So a little gift like this is something that someone might not get for themselves, but I promise you they will use it. And now some of the more expensive things on this list. Every household needs a knife sharpener. I got this maybe as a graduation gift. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $40 to $50 somewhere in there. And this one is outdated. I'm sure they have better ones now. But I use this all the time because while having really nice knives is great, I have nice knives, but all knives get dull, even nice knives. So if you can keep your knives sharp with a home knife sharpener, it will serve you super, super well. So really highly recommend one of these, and make sure you look up a YouTube video on how to use them, because when I first got it and I kind of followed the directions from the package, it didn't really seem to work. I was like, this thing doesn't really get my knife sharp, but it's because I didn't know how to use it properly. So also, if you have one of these and you don't feel like it really works, watch a couple YouTube videos of guys who really know how to sharpen knives, and they will show you how to do a really, really good job so it actually gets the job done and will get your knives back to, a factory sharpness quality. So highly recommend a home knife sharpener if you do not have one. And then the last two things on my list are thermometers. So I have two styles in my house. I've had this one for quite a while, and then I got this one, I believe, for my birthday this last year, or maybe for Christmas. Use them both super regularly. So they're really nice instant thermometer that you'll see on a lot of cooking shows. I believe it's called the Thermopen. This is a knockoff of that, so it's a lot less expensive, but it also works super, super great. So you just open it and it comes on, and it just displays the temperature immediately. So apparently it's 74 degrees in this room, which is way too hot. So I will link this one down below. It works super great. I've never had a problem with it. I've used it for everything from frying something in hot oil to testing the temperature of a steak. Use this all the time. The other kind of thermometer that I think is actually really nice to have is the kind of thermometer that you can leave in your meat. So I don't know what the technical term for this type of thermometer is, but basically you just plug it in, you stick this in whatever you want it to be. Typically it would be something like meat, but this comes in super handy, especially if you're not following an exact recipe, which I find that I do that more and more. The more that I cook, the less I use an exact recipe. I kind of borrow from different recipes. And this works super, super great, because if I know I want to cook my meat to a certain temperature, but I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, I just stick this in that part of the meat, keep this part outside the oven, and I just set the alarm to go off whenever it reaches that temperature. And it works great, and it makes it so that my meat is always exactly the way that I like it. It's also really handy if you're buying, maybe a larger cut of meat than the recipe calls for, or a smaller cut of meat than the recipe calls for. That really can mess with the timing of the cooking, and also it keeps you from having to open the oven every 5 minutes towards the end of cooking to check the temperature with something like this. It's really nice to have one of these just set in there, and you only have to open the oven once, and you know confidently that your dish is done. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that video and you got some inspiration for ideas for Christmas gifts for other people or even for yourself. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I make videos like this every week about frugal living, healthy eating, and minimalist parenting. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!